Okay, hey everybody. Now, imagine all these videos I've made about people, who I've said that it's like a script, and that the script they do that, similar things like say they don't have money for food and all this. Imagine one of them actually lost everything because of what they did, the audience wanted them to do. The audience loved them, and the audience paid them a lot of money. Their audiences, they had 2 social media accounts. Lost both of them. Lost the money they had saved, apparently. They had lost their regular job, and they lost they were vloggers, and lost their, like I said, their social media accounts. But also they did food delivery on the side of their regular job. Lost that. Some people would just call it, no matter what service, food delivery service it is, they say they get deactivated. And they lose it. They can't continue. Imagine someone who got all that because of her, a middle-aged woman, because of her attitude. The one that the audience really loved. They liked to call her spicy or saucy, things like that. And they loved it. They loved that she badmouthed the customers. They loved that she badmouthed the restaurants and actually showed the restaurant, showed on her, phone where, the order that she was going to pick up or not, where the location was, the name of it and the location. She would badmouth them. She'd badmouth the businesses all around, and they just loved it. Yeah, you don't see them having an account, accounts, social media accounts, making videos, but they're back there supporting her to do so. They might make comments, but you don't know who they are. She, however, was on video, so people knew who she was. You see? Okay, now, have you ever had somebody or there was somebody that you watched on video, and I prefer to call them video creators instead of content creators. Video creator sounds better, more understanding to me. But you watched them years ago. And I've been on making videos 11 years, so and you watch them, like I said, vloggers, that kind of thing. And at some point you say, no, not really. I'm okay. I don't want to watch them. Maybe they're too dramatic. There's always something going on, always a problem, always what it turns out to be eventually is that they're begging for money. They always have this drama. And of course, like I was saying earlier, the ones it's like cliche. Oh, they don't have enough money to feed themselves or their children. Their children could be in their 20s and 30s, and they don't have enough money to feed them. And they work. Stuff like that. But they'll still use these things. And have you ever had somebody like that? You said, enough is enough? I certainly have. And then somehow, some way, they show either their video shows back up, or one of those reaction channels, the ones that actually show their videos, that content creator, see, now I'm saying it, that video creator, the one that you don't like, stopped watching, they'll show some of their videos, and they'll talk about what this person was doing and what happened. Okay, well, this one who lost everything was one of mine. The ones that I said, no, she's too dramatic, too histrionic, basically. Drama queen, all that. And it was years ago, and somebody had a reaction channel, it came up, and they said basically that she had lost everything. Okay, I don't have a problem saying her name. It was because she wanted everybody, and she said it, everybody in her neighborhood. It was not her real name and all that. And her accounts are gone. And her accounts weren't here. That her name, that she wanted everybody in her neighborhood to call her Diva Mom because she felt it gave her clout. And she wanted everybody online just to call her Diva because she felt she was a diva. Now, the way she dressed was pretty bad. I mean, she, I keep using that expression, looked like what the cat dragged in. Kind of like, wonder where that came from. I looked it up, but I don't remember. I looked it up a while back, but I don't remember. But she just looked, trashy, dirty. Like I've said about some of these people, how, not all of them, by the way, it's just the ones that stand out that I usually talk about because they, but there are a lot of them, people who do delivery. They're good, decent people. They, some of them maybe into not so good, not so decent, but they're generally keep their nails clean, they keep their face clean, they keep their hair clean, their clothes clean, you know what I'm saying? They generally don't look horrible, and they have good hygiene, but the ones that don't, they stand out. We know how that works. The ones who don't stand out. And she's one of them that stood out. But this person, this reaction channel, said that she was doing that so she could make money. She could look poor. That her audience would say, oh, she doesn't even have enough money to buy good clothes. That those clothes, like I said, 15 to 20 years went out of style back then. Hey, I'm old enough to know when stuff went out of style. Like there were some shirts. They were good shirts. And I would say it was probably, maybe around 15 years ago. They were selling them at one of the superstores for $1. And they were t-shirts. They weren't bad. The material wasn't bad. They weren't cut bad. They just were trying to get rid of them maybe or something. I don't know. But $1 a piece, I bought some. Yeah, I did. And wore them around the house, like if I was cleaning or whatever. And, but I mean, when I go out to do food delivery, because the insurance, the health insurance and all that, told that story a million times, that I wear scrub tops. I looked what I searched for online on Temu, T-E-M-U. Most people then call it Temu. Temu.com, not sponsored. What I looked for a couple years ago was shirts with pockets. And these shirts came up, and I looked at them and said, yeah, I used to wear scrubs. So, but they were so pretty, very pretty, and it's very soft material. And I like them. They have pockets. That's what's important to me. I'm out delivering. I put my, whatever I need to in my pockets, my phone. And I'm walking up to deliver something, So I don't dress up. I wear capris. Well, in the winter time, I wear sweatpants. Decent sweatpants. Not old sweatpants, not ones torn up, or whatever, ripped up or any of that stuff. My clothes are clean. My clothes are, not ripped up or any of that stuff. And so I look clean. I don't look filthy. Like I said, the people who do, they stand out. Well, Diva was one of them. Like I said, this reaction channel said it was because she wanted to get money from her audience. Like they would say, oh, you need some clothes. But she wouldn't buy any. Now, she had some, from what this reaction channel said. Okay, that she actually, had videos from long ago, and those videos showed her dressed real nice. Okay. But on video, the current one, she showed herself out delivering. She showed herself, at restaurants and everything looking trashy. I'm saying trashy as in her hair not kept up, her face not looking washed, her fingernails long, unkept, not painted, nothing. You don't have to paint your nails, but to have them filthy underneath them, ugh. Ooh, gross. You know what I'm saying? And you're delivering. So she was one of them who lost everything. So, okay. What was also said was that years ago, back when I stopped, watching, was that Diva, she basically, her husband, which it was questionable if she was married to him. She had married when I got married, 18. And then she had a kid with him, and he was a lawyer. He worked in the big city, they called it. And it wasn't close to where she lived. She was born and raised. And she didn't want to leave, and he didn't want her to. He had his business in the big city. He said he'd come home every chance he got, on weekends and stuff like that, or send her money, and she was fine with it. She pretty much liked the situation, and so they did that for years, and then around 2020 or something like that, she was still telling people she was in her 40s. You know how people say, my mother did this too, say I'm 49 and holding when she was like in her 70s. My mother did that when she was like in her 60s or 70s. And so Diva did something similar. She told everybody she was in her 40s when she was actually in her 50s. And yeah. But her husband, as it turned out, after 2020, he was basically locked out of the county because the county is a very wealthy county. Where she lived, however, is not. Within the county, it's in the county, but it's not wealthy. It's one of the worst parts it is the worst part of that county. But the county locked down during 2020, you know what I'm saying? And they were real wealthy. They didn't do anything illegal, but they tend to flirt with it, They don't do anything illegal, but they flirt with it. And her husband had the choice of, he'd have to stay quarantined for 2 weeks at the entrance of the county. They only had one entrance, one exit. Only one entrance and exit on both sides, north and south. And if he wanted to come in, that's what he had to do. They were flirting, like I said, with it. And he didn't want to do that. So then, once it was okay, people were getting their shots to the arm, and they said that it was okay. They opened up the county. He started ignoring her phone calls. He would not answer her phone calls. And she was like, what's going on? And they had a whole history of him living in in the big city, her living in, this bad town, really, within that great county. And so she got to the point where she had hired an investigator. And remember, she was getting a lot of money from her audience, for her channels, or I'm going to call them channels because I'm so used to that, but her accounts are channels. So she got an investigator, and basically she found out that his name, which was on hers, she'd always used his name, his last name, which was on their son's birth certificate, all this stuff. And his first name, when he went by Branson, his name was actually Earl. And she found out information like that, but she couldn't find where he was or anything. But, she found out through the investigator that the phone that he used with her was just a phone he used with her. What do they call them? Those, what do they call them? Those phones, you know what I'm talking about. Anyway, I want to name one, but I don't want to name the brand of it, so I know the brand name, but anyway. And she found all of this, so she just, kind of let it go. He had just disappeared. She she went into like a little bit of a funk, you know. And but she was very much a drama queen. You know, Diva was a drama queen. Imagine that. And she just kept working. And in 2020, her job moved to what she did at home, which was scheduling appointments for doctor's offices. Because she could do it from home. I noticed that a lot of them still do that. And her other one, like I said, was food delivery, which was very common in the county. You know, those people who wanted to do them, did them, you know. So, and she was making, like I said, a lot of the money she learned, she made it off of social media because people were feeling sorry for her and giving her money. And she was really good at master manipulation and conning them to believe that she was so poor and all that. Okay, my voice still isn't right yet, but been sick. But anyway, so what happened from there? How did she lose everything? That's the story. It's a whole separate video of how she lost everything. Like I said, her social media, her jobs. It was some of this, of course, could be temporary, could be. But like you look up her social media accounts, it just said suspended or something like that. And doesn't say it's ever going to come back. And but how this other channel, this reaction channel knows, who knows? You know, you never know. Okay, never. Sometimes you wonder, are they in cahoots? That's that cute word, cahoots. But anyway, so I'll make another video about how and what happened after that. Because this one's, I think, getting long. I'm not sure. I'll talk to you on another video. Bye.